Alright, peace and love, fam. Peace and love. I'm back at it once again. I'm going to put my disclaimer out here right away, basically stating that this video is not for criminals. I'm not condoning any type of criminal behavior whatsoever. This video is only to inform you that if you're ready to become competent and handle your own affairs as a man, you should do so. Alright, so this video won't be long, it'll be brief. So I'll start off with this intro, basically going into a video that I saw on YouTube from a brother named Big Herc. Alright, Big Herc has done close to a decade in federal penitentiary because of some mishaps in his past. But he redeemed himself. And I'm going to basically go into his video on why he details why you shouldn't deal with an attorney. And I agree 1000% because I've dealt with things in the past with attorneys and they will fuck you. And the reason I know they'll fuck you is because they tried to fuck me, even though I paid them in the past. All right. So once you do your research and you look into statistics, you'll see that the quote unquote United States has the highest mass incarceration rate in the world. All right. I'll repeat that. The United States has the highest mass incarceration rate in the world. Now, is it because it's that many criminals around this way? Of course not. It's because, again, like I said, attorneys will fuck you in the system that they're aligned with. All right, the corrupt prosecutors, the judges, the attorneys alike, they'll fuck you. What people don't realize is that attorneys' first obligation is to the court and not you. All right, that's why the jails are filled like sardines. All right, in those cages. Now you got to ask yourself, how does these prisons, even the county jails, how do they make money? All right, the jails, the prisons do not sell anything to the public. They don't trade anything with the public. All right, they don't buy anything from the public. All right, so how do they make finance to provide income to their employees, to warehouse inmates, to feed inmates, to implement security programs, state-of-the-art security programs, training? I can go on and on. All right, so how do they do this? You got to think about it, people. Off the backs of the people. You got to look into the state and the federal taxing, and you can see how they're funded. You can also see it through private organizations, and I can go really deep if you go into this birth certificate bonding thing. All right, so I won't go that deep on this video, but again, this brother Big Herc, all right, is telling this story and why should you or why should you not fuck with an attorney. All right, so one more thing before we get into this video. If you have problems with your car, right, and every time you take it to a quote unquote licensed mechanic, they overcharge you, so you feel, right? Common sense sooner or later will let you know that, hey, I should figure something out about cars so I won't get screwed so much, right? Same thing if you're getting your ass whooped. If you got your ass whooped in school, then you got your ass whooped in college, and you got your ass whooped as an adult, you should learn some sort of self-defense. Am I correct? All right, so it's the same thing with the judicial system. You should learn how to stroke that pen. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Peace and love.
Since starting the Fresh Out series, we've been getting tons of emails about prison life. So we decided to start this series to answer all those questions you have. Prison life can be a scary thing if you know what you're walking into. You can end up in a deadly situation or get fucked up. I'm Big Herc, and I served nearly a decade in federal prison. And I've seen and lived through some shitty times. And this is Prison Talk.
Growing up, I had dreams and aspirations, but always felt like the kid that didn't fit in. For the most part, I wasn't a bad kid, but when I made the transition into adulthood, I turned to the streets for guidance. This led to getting locked up in juvenile hall, doing time in CYA, and eventually a 120-month sentence in federal prison. I had a lot of time to think and reflect during my federal sentence. So I share with you what I learned, hoping I can positively influence someone else's life with Prison Talk.
What's up, everybody? Big Herc 916 getting down fresh out. You tune in another episode of Prison Talk. Hopefully you subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed, you're a motherfucking weenie. So go and subscribe, hit the subscribe button, check out the website, freshoutseries.com, and subscribe to the website, and leave a comment if you have a question you would like us to answer. We try to get to as many questions as possible. We get a lot of emails, so don't be offended if I don't make your question into a video. But I want to talk about learning the law. And you guys who are out there in the streets, who consider yourself hardcore gangsters, gangbangers, whatever the case may be, you should take the time before you get yourself into some real shit. Go and study the law in regards to what it is you're doing in the street, so you know what kind of time you're looking at, or you know how to decipher any type of legal, documents that might be asserted against you. Learn the law. It's almost ass backwards to go into a courtroom after you've been out there doing all this shit on the street and depend on a lawyer or an attorney to handle your livelihood. It doesn't really make sense. I've done it. You know what I mean? I looked at it, man, it's almost asinine. You catch whether even a DUI, you catch a DUI, let's keep it simple. And, you don't know what type of time a DUI carries. But you got a public defender, and they tell you to plead out, and it's not going to be a big thing. But they don't tell you that that's going to be held accountable against your DMV record. It could put a mark on your license, and if you get another one, you can lose your license and get jail time, possibly. So if you would have studied the law, you maybe would have knew that maybe the breathalyzer wasn't calibrated. Maybe the officer who did the breathalyzer wasn't going to show up to court. Maybe the traffic stop was illegal. There's a lot of things, man. There's a lot of things that you don't know, but you're depending on somebody else to know for you. Same thing about, anything even more serious, drugs, attempted murder. People get charged with stuff all the time. And, a lot of you guys all fucking felon, you committed crimes. Well, what about the innocent people who are charged with stuff who didn't do it? And those people, how they get out of jail? It's usually because they do their own research. And sometimes they're lucky and they have these different legal groups who pick up their case, law students who do the research and help get that conviction overturned. But if you don't have that and you got to actually go to the law library and do your own homework, man, if you would have known a lot of this before you went to court, when you was in trial, and you could have brought it to the attention of your attorney, it would have saved you a lot of time, a lot of heartache. So learn the law. One of the most important books you can read in your life is not the Webster's Dictionary. Go grab you a Black's Law Dictionary, 5th edition. Number 1 and number 2 are pretty hard to find, man, but 5th edition is also good. Black's Law Dictionary, 5th edition. And read about what it means to be represented by an attorney. Read about what it means to be a client, Do you know that when you accept an attorney and legal teams, you're considered an imbecile. You're considered incapable of representing yourself, so you've attorned your rights over to an attorney who is therefore going to represent you because you're incompetent. Do you know what it means to go into the court and be sui juris, which means of your own right, your own standing, your own flesh and blood? Do you understand? Do you know what that means? I'm not here to give you a lesson on law. I'm here to lace you up on what you need to be prepared for if you're out there doing dirt. You know, you're out there putting yourself in harm's way, selling drugs, robbing, whatever the hell it is you're doing. And if you read the law, better yet, if you read the law about the law, a lot of that shit you're doing, you'll stop. You'll stop, man. You'll realize how much of a fucking idiot you've been acting due to your lack of knowledge, lack of education. When I started reading the law, I used to get fucking headaches. I'd get fucking these headaches, man, and I'd be like fucking, I almost want to scream out in my cell. How fucking ignorant could you be, man? If you knew this game, I could be working, helping other people on the street, making way more money. I could have went to law school, or I would have been doing something that's way more high powered as far as on the legit side. Because when you know the law, you understand really what the fuck is going on with the economy, with the judicial system, with everything as a whole. That's why a lot of people, before they go on to certain prestigious offices, they are lawyers, they're attorneys, they're, you know, doctors, they're people who have a background in something that's highly educated. The Congressional Acts, how many of you guys have read those? Probably never even heard of them. Go read the Congressional Acts. How many of you guys have read the Declaration of Independence? How many of you guys have read the Constitution? See, they used to make you read that stuff back in the day in school, you know, and in some of the private schools they probably do, but a lot of you guys in public schools, you don't get anything even close to that. So you don't know what the Constitution is. You don't know what your what the Bill of Rights are. You don't know when you know, United States actually got their independence. You don't know any of this stuff, man, because you guys are caught up on just being cool, you know, getting money, taking pictures on Instagram and Twitter with a bunch of money in your hand. But when you get caught up, you're gonna give all that money to a fucking attorney. So it's gone anyways. You played yourself. Attorneys out there clapping, yeah, we won, because they know when you get that case, you're gonna call one of them to come help you because you have no fucking clue. When I knew that I was fucked up, when my attorney said, you know what, you're young, you're only 25, you know, 10 years, you only be 35, it's not that bad, you know, just go ahead and take the plea deal and do your time. Take the plea deal, fuck it. Yeah, I knew I robbed the bank, I knew I fucked up, but goddamn, man, 10 years? I could learn this lesson, man, in fucking less than a fucking month. So I started doing my research, went to the law library, and I had very limited legal access to material. And I ran across a dude who was in there fighting a bank robbery too. And he had just won a case where he was able to get some time knocked off his sentence. And it wasn't even published yet, but he let me make a copy of the paperwork, and so I could use it. And so I didn't know how to write a motion, but I took that paperwork and I put together a motion, and I ignored everything my attorney said from that point on. And I went into court, and when the judge asked me if I had anything to say, I said yes. And I read the motion, cited the case law behind the case, and the prosecutor looked over at my attorney and gave her the eye, and I'm like, what the fuck? And she's like, oh, I thought, you know, Your Honor, she was stuck. And the prosecutor didn't know what to do because she thought I was just laying down. Typical black man going to court. He ain't going to argue. He's going to do his time and just keep it pushing like we all do. No, I'm a black man who's going to pick up a book and figure out what the fuck is going on, because I'm not just going to lay down for anybody. And the judge said, oh, yeah, motion granted, you know, knocked 2 years off my sentence. I was looking at 12 years. I got it down to 10 years. The judge asked me, do I have anything else to say? I was fucked, man. My heart was beating. I was looking around the courtroom, and my attorney, public pretender, was looking at me, and you could see that she was livid because she was thinking, why did you open your mouth? She's looking at me like, why'd I open my mouth? I'm like, bitch, you ain't doing the motherfucking time. You know what I mean? So I didn't have any more, no more bullets to spit though. I was out of bullets. I had emptied my cartridge with that motion. And so I got the 10 years, man, but that opened my eyes up to researching law, researching cases, and doing my time by educating myself on the law. You know, a lot of you guys, you have no clue as to the different versions of law. You probably say, there's only one law. No, motherfucker. There's quite a few different laws. There's common law, which was what England brought over, which meant that there was substance, common law. There's admiralty maritime law, which deals with laws relating to maritime, the sea, and things of that nature, which what they used to use for a lot of ships. Then there's federal statutory law. Federal statutory law, the statutes that they charge you with in the feds. Then you have administrative law. Before you get served with any type of paperwork to get brought into court, there's an administrative process that's done, which they get an actual default judgment against you, so that before you even go into court, you're pretty much convicted because you've defaulted to whatever notices they've sent you and you haven't responded. They don't tell you about none of this shit. And then there's state statutory law. State statutes based on the constitution of that state. California Constitution, Iowa Constitution, New York Constitution. Each state has its own constitutional law and its own sovereignty. And everybody that was born in a particular state is a citizen of that state first and foremost. Then you're a citizen of the United States because you're using the benefits of the United States of America, which ties into your Social Security. But I'm not going to get into all that because that's on another level. And a lot of people are like, what the fuck is he talking about? Social Security card, Uniform Commercial Code. Yeah, you guys don't know about that one either. Do your research, go do your homework. But I'm just lacing you up because I've read a lot of shit and I wasn't able to quite figure all of it out before I got out to get out early. But I did educate myself to where I have a lot of knowledge and a lot of information that I've acquired that lace me up. But do your homework. Look at some of these things I talked about in there, the different laws, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And hopefully to open your eyes. But all you guys who think you guys are street motherfuckers, who are so gang smart, and you got the jewelry, the cars, the money, and all this stuff, and when the motherfucking indictment hits, you fucking got to give everything up to your attorney, who just goes through and liquidates all your shit. Do your homework so that you can have a fighting chance and know that you can at least defend yourself in a righteous manner, that you are getting a good defense, because otherwise you're fucked. Big Herc 916, getting down fresh out prison talk. Lockdown's over. Get your yard time in. Exclusively at FreshOutSeries.com.